without a reason, as the golden leaves gave way, and we chased the wind together like children run astray. Your coat was thin, your hair was wild, your hands were barely warm, but somehow in that fleeting chill I never feared the storm. The sun would set in silence then, not red but soft and gray, and we would sit where no one looked and let the sky decay. You spoke about the little things, the poems you never wrote, the names you gave to passing clouds, the secrets in your coat. I never asked for promises, you never asked me why. I never wore my shoes with you beneath that brittle sky. We left the world behind us then, the noise, the need, the race, and found the quiet truth of us in every empty place. Barefoot in November, when the grass had turned to thread, you taught me how to listen to the things we never said. The earth was hard beneath our feet, but you would close your eyes and whisper that the coldest ground still holds the softest skies. Your voice was like a lullaby, it carried no good night. It drifted like the evening wind, then vanished with the light. I tried to keep it bottled, like breath I could not hold, but every word you gave to me grew fragile, faint and old. I remember how your laughter would echo off the trees, how silence was not empty when you filled it just like these. The stones you skipped across the stream, the wool gloves on your hands, the way you drew a crooked heart in riverside wet sand. We never spoke of future days, we only held the now. I think we feared to name it all, we feared we'd break the vow. For something that was never said can never be untrue. And so we danced with autumn's breath as if we always knew. But seasons have their tempers, and trees will lose their grace. You left before the frost arrived and snow erased your trace. I waited by the willow tree where once you tied your braid, but only wind came back to me and took what we had made. Now years have passed like echoes do when hills forget the call, but I still walk that narrow path each time the red leaves fall. I take my shoes off gently and step into the air, and though the world is colder now, I feel you everywhere. Barefoot in November, where the silence turns to song, I hear your steps in memory still moving me along. No footprints in the brittle grass, no shadow by the stream, and yet I see you perfectly inside this waking dream. I do not need the photographs or things you left behind. I only need the feel of you still walking through my mind. when the leaves begin to fade and hush the earth again, I'll meet you where the sky grows low, barefoot in the rain, barefoot in November, like we were back then. There's a drawer I never open in a corner of my mind, where pages stay unspoken and the ink has turned to time. They're folded like old memories in envelopes of doubt, each word a quiet injury I never dared let out. I wrote you under candlelight when sleep refused to stay, confessing things I could not say when you were just a breath away. I wrote of all my longings, the nights I felt you fade, the dreams that turned to warnings as silence slowly stayed. The first one said I miss you, with trembling lines and care, but I never found the courage to place it anywhere. The second bled with questions, like was I not enough, but I sealed it with forgiveness, though the pain remained so rough. Some letters turned to poetry, with verses rimmed in ache, some scattered into stories of a love that couldn't wake. I poured my heart in rhythm, in prose I never read, a novel made of moments where we lived and then we bled. You never knew the pages grew each time you closed the door. Each time you walked but didn't turn, I wrote just one page more. You thought I moved in silence, but my voice was on the page, a song I hummed in stillness, in sorrow and in rage. I told you how the mornings felt hollow in your place, how shadows filled my coffee cup, how mirrors wore your face. I wrote of autumn evenings you left without goodbye, and how the cold November was the first time I could cry. I signed them all with trembling names, with hands that barely knew if love had meant what it had claimed, or if I just loved you. I never bought a stamp for them, I never licked the glue, just left them in that quiet place where thoughts of you still grew. But tonight I found them waiting beneath the dust and doubt, and read them like a stranger, trying to piece it out. And somewhere past the aching, the tears began to bend, for I was always writing you, just never meant to send. So let them rest in silence now, those ghosts of ink and time, for though you'll never read them, they've bled enough through rhyme. I'll leave them in the drawer, my love, beneath the years we spent, a shrine of words I could not give, the letters I never sent. You said so little with your words, but told me everything in pause, like poetry that hides in air or truth behind applause. You spoke in looks and distant hums and glances shaped like prayers. I tried to find the melody that lived beneath your stares. Your voice was not in lullabies, but in the space between. Like an evening mist in places I had been. And though I searched for lyrics that might explain it all, I found the silence louder still each time I tried to call. You never told me why you stayed, nor why you had to go. You only placed your hand in mine and held it soft and slow. And in that quiet gesture was 1,000 aching lines of symphonies that never played, of clocks without their chimes. We lived between the moments, the ticking left unsaid. You played the chords I could not name and danced just half a step ahead. I followed you through empty halls of music we composed, though not with pen or instrument, just silence we both chose. The silence between notes, my love, is where your heart once sang, a haunting tune of almost love and what we never named. I felt you in the shadows, in pauses deep and long, where meaning fills the quiet, far deeper than a song. I wonder if you knew back then how much I really heard, how every breath you didn't take still echoed like a word. And when you left that final time, you said not even why. You only closed the window shade and let the curtains cry. I played our song in memories with hands that shook and failed. The melody fell off the page, the rhythm dimmed and paled. Yet still I sit with aching strings and try to find the line where music meets the morning that slips through every rhyme. They ask me why I kept your seat beside me on the stage. I said because I hear her still between each turning page. You live not in the words I sing, but in the breath I save. It rests and breaks in silences that echo from the grave. I do not need to play aloud to feel your harmony. You'll haunt the space within the chords you hum inside of me. And though the world has moved ahead with verses tight and grand, I still compose in minor keys with you behind my hand. So let them have the thunder, the roaring, crashing notes. I sit here with the whispering, with all the quiet you wrote. I live among the spaces where only few can float, and love you in the silence between every note. We lit the lanterns one by one as twilight kissed the day. The sky turned soft with quiet grace and time just slipped away. Your fingers traced the golden glass as if it held your name. And when you smiled, I almost asked if you still felt the same. The wind had changed its language, it whispered through the trees, but all you said was let it blow, then fell into the breeze. We didn't speak of leaving, we didn't say goodbye. We only watched the flicker dance, then drift into the sky. You stood beside the river bend where all the lanterns go, and I could see the weight you bore, though your face did not show. I wanted to believe in light and floating things that rise, but some flames die too quietly, reflected in your eyes. The lanterns glowed like promises we made when we were new. They held the warmth of yesterdays and all we could not do. You reached to set another free, but paused before you did, as if a final part of you still asked to run and hid. You turned to me but said no words, your silence burned instead. It filled the space between our steps and everything we said. The night began to thicken, then the stars too far to name, and I knew something ended, though no one took the blame. We watched them float like dreams undone, those lanterns made of light. They vanished into darkness and slowly left our sight. But one remained so faint and shy, its glow began to bend. And I remember thinking then, not every light must end. I reached for you in memory, though you were never near. I held the shape of who you were and let it disappear. I walked alone the morning next, the world still wet with dew, and every step was softer as I walked away from you. But still I dream of lanterns, of soft and fleeting fire, of words we left unspoken beneath that thin desire. I dream of hands that almost stayed, of hearts that tried and broke, of light that flickers even now through ashes, grief and smoke. The years have not extinguished it, though winds have come and gone. The flame remains, if small and shy, a ghost that lingers on. And when the lanterns fade again, as all bright things must do, I'll find the spark you left behind and let it carry through. I'll keep it in a quiet place where memory can glow, and whisper to the fading night, I once loved you, I know. Soft footsteps echo through the night, beneath a sky that hides the light. The clouds are low, the air is thin, I feel you breathing through the wind. I walk alone on silent streets, each memory beneath my feet. The rain begins, it calls your name, a ghost that dances through the flame. I hear your voice behind the trees, a whisper carried by the breeze. I close my eyes and you are near, your absence louder than my fear. remember how we stood beneath this sky, just flesh and wood. Our hearts were beating out of time, two verses tangled in one rhyme. I reach for you with empty hands, but all I touch is falling sand. The past is wet against my skin, reminding me of what has been. The street lamp flickers overhead, its glow like words we left unsaid. I search the puddles for your face, but find reflections I erase. The rain keeps falling soft and slow, and in its rhythm I still know the way you laughed, the way you cried, the way you held me when you lied. But still I stay beneath this sky and let the water ask me why. If love was real, then where are you? And why does silence sound so true? Your shadow lingers in the dark, a fleeting warmth, a fading spark. I speak your name into the air, but only emptiness is there. Each drop that falls becomes a word, a song that only I have heard, a melody of long goodbyes and promises beneath the skies. Tonight I'll walk with you once more along this soaked and ghostly shore. Though you're not here, I feel you stay in every raindrop on my way. So let the world keep moving on, I'll sing for you though you are gone. And when the sky begins to cry, I'll find your voice and wonder why. The night will end, the storm will fade, the morning finds what time has made. But as I rise and walk again, I'll still hear whispers in the rain.